Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Nick's vlogs, and I am so happy to have Nick back under training again. People had asked about that, and they're like, "Is he still on Team Blaha?" Yeah, he's been on Team Blaha. He's still been paying. He had to take some downtime from lifting a little bit. So, I'm not going to get into, any of his personal stuff because that's his private information. But uh, we have full medical clearance to train again. We're building him back up. We're starting a little lighter than the previous vlogs and just moving forward. And so far, I'm very, very happy with what we're seeing. This last week of training got spaced out a little longer than a week because he was traveling a bit and busy with some stuff, but we still got the workouts done. And again, building back up, keeping him healthy, focused on longevity. He's back to being able to run again. He'll probably do, a couple marathons again this coming year. And, Nick is one of these guys who just kind of has his own inspirational story. For those who have followed the vlogs, this is someone who's lost 200 pounds. He has lost 200 pounds. And he lost the majority of that before he became my client. So I can't even take credit for a big chunk of that. I've gotten him stronger, helped him with body composition, all that stuff once he came on to Team Blaha. But, that was all him, that initial weight loss. He lost over 100 pounds on his own, well over. And, more power to him because by most standards, to do this in your middle age, I mean, think about how many people who are middle-aged are struggling with weight and everything else and looking for a solution and can't find it. And he just came in and just powered through it, muscled through it, did it on his own, right? That's inspirational. And again, I want to be very, very clear, even though I talk about the weight loss, I can't take credit for that. That was all him. And, again, he is an athlete. Does run marathons. We're working on his strength training, which is general strength training. We're working on building him up in a way that keeps him healthy, that helps reduce his injury risk while running. Because, again, we build all the musculature up. We build his hips up. We build his low back. And he obviously wants to continue to look a little better. So, it's not just all lower body. We do upper body and chest and triceps and things. And we're slowly adding in some extra rear delt work and stuff, because he's still a guy. He cares about those things. So we're going to do them. Plus, we want to maximize muscle mass in general as we get older, just for no other reason than health purposes. So again, his lifting itself is really gen pop. But his lifestyle is that of an athlete, and he is a dedicated athlete, and he is dedicated to what he's doing. So if you look at our routine at the moment, what we're doing for upper body, we flat bench, we do dumbbell presses, we do dumbbell rows, and then we do some band work in there. I've got him doing band press downs for high reps, although I do want to work on his technique on those to look a little more like what I do. So that's, again, for the extra tricep work, the extra tendon health. And I'm big on those, particularly my middle-aged lifters, of really getting them in and working a lot of band press downs. It just saves so many problems down the road. And then, of course, I've got him doing band pull-aparts here. So for, again, extra shoulder health, extra posterior delt work. Again, just maintaining joint health with a lot of this stuff, maintaining healthy shoulders, maintaining healthy elbows, so that we can continue to bench press and build his bench up, even though, again, his goals are not necessarily to have an elite bench. He'd like to be able to bench 300 pounds one day. I'd like to see him get there. It's not completely out of reach. And I know that sounds crazy. I always tell people, look, I can get pretty much anyone, any healthy man eventually, we can get to probably a 300 bench, 400 squat, 500 deadlift. The bench might be the hardest of those, but it's not completely out of reach for people. It's, are you willing to put in enough time? But people will also say, but didn't you bench for under 300 for just a bit again? Yeah, but that was due to a shoulder injury. You guys have seen me bench 365 with a pause recently. I'm back up there and I'm reaching towards 405. My goal is to bench 405 next year and meet. So, context, right? Got to have context, because I've got people who tried to clown me for that at those couple of meets, and I'm like, well, look at the training history, look at the shoulder impingement, right? I had to work around all that, and I've got the recipe for success with it, right? I have come back and am building a bench with a previous shoulder impingement over age 40, and I'm doing it pain-free now. So I've got the recipe for success. All right, his lower body, again, we do back squats, we do conventional deadlift, we do goblet squats, and then we do a lot of reverse hypers. And that comes over to a point too. I get people who are like, oh, not everyone needs to deadlift. Sure they do. Why wouldn't you deadlift? I understand if someone has an anatomical issue with the deadlift. I understand that. If you have a previous injury history or something with your anatomy that makes a deadlift a problem, okay, I get it. But even my Gen Pop lifters like this, they deadlift. I know coaches who take Gen Pop housewives and have them do heavy singles on the deadlift. Injury-free. All right, there's nothing inherently dangerous about the deadlift. And if our goal is to be strong, overall strength, which, again, let's talk about the Gen Pop who really want longevity. You don't think getting decently strong on a deadlift is going to help you with that? All right, I understand that some people say, well, for whatever hypertrophy purposes, you don't need the deadlift. All right, I'll agree with that. All right, fine. But I'm not interested in coaching people who don't care about anything but bodybuilding. I don't coach bodybuilders. A lot of my clients look like bodybuilders, right? A lot of them look like bodybuilders. Some of them do. I don't coach bodybuilders. And most of you don't either. 99% of you will never coach a bodybuilder in your life, even if you're a trainer or a coach, okay? It's a specialty. No one cares about that. We're talking about athletes, people who want to be strong, or strength. All strength athletes are going to need to deadlift. But what about your Gen Pop people? All right, I remember Jack LaLanne saying when he was 90 years old that he credited the deadlift with his longevity, that he actually felt it had helped keep his back healthy up into his 90s. He was the original fitness guru, and I'm not saying everything he did was perfect. He deadlifted. He was one of the fittest 90-year-olds on the planet. Right? He deadlifted, didn't have an issue with it. So we do that. We do goblet squats, which I actually am a big fan of goblet squats for Gen Pop people. Dan John would agree with that. Dan John, very well-respected world-level strength coach. He's the one who sold me on the goblet squat originally. Do that and then reverse hypers, and I think everyone should have a reverse hyper. Everyone who can find a way to afford it should have a reverse hyper in their home, my opinion. And that's what we finish up with. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.